Hello, welcome to the final word. Everton 1, Fulham 1 at Goodison Park on Saturday. Me and Ped gonna go through the game, try and get some minutes out of what wasn't a very exciting game. And I imagine if you're a Fulham fan, very frustrating night at Goodison Park where the game could have been won. Mm-hmm. It was a bit crap, Ped, let's be honest. From an Everton perspective, it was a bit rubbish, wasn't it?
It was crap.
Yeah.
It was crap, wasn't it? It was a very, very poor performance. We didn't really deserve anything out of the game. We got something out of the game. That's the only positive you can take out of it, isn't it? We got a point when we really didn't deserve one. I don't know. I don't know what more to add. It was just really, really rubbish.
There's probably not more that you can add to that than saying what it is. There was a big talking point all week about whether Jarrad Branthwaite would come into the Everton side or would the manager stay with Michael Keane. He opted to stick with Michael Keane.
He did.
Was that a mistake in your mind?
It's utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. You bet.
Okay.
£70 million player sitting on the bench. Don't be stupid. You know, it's not just about being a like for like player. It's about what Branthwaite is all about. He's got pace. He's good in the air. His passing is good. Michael Keane is a very formulaic defender. Yeah. So straight away, you're cutting down on your options. Yeah. People have forgotten how good Jarrad Branthwaite is. He's not just a defender. He's lots of different things. And I just find it mad that anyone would want Michael Keane to start ahead of him. Mad. And for the manager to pick him, it's just total nonsense.
Do you think if Branthwaite would have played, Everton could have gone a bit higher up the pitch? And obviously, on the ball, he's so much better, isn't he, than the two centre-backs?
He's... No, Mike, right. And this is not against Michael Keane. This is two players where one is clearly better than the other. Right? We've established that, haven't we? I think we've established.
Everyone would say.
We've established that. But there's little things like, if you look at Michael Keane's numbers during every game, he doesn't win many headers. He doesn't even try and win many headers. He leaves it to Tarkowski. But when Branthwaite plays, that gets split a little bit more. So there's stuff like that about taking responsibility, being, putting an equal amount in it each, which means that there's a better balance. Tarky doesn't have to move over to someone else's side. Branthwaite's a lot more proactive. Yes, he also got that pace. He can leave space behind, a little bit more space behind, recovery pace. He's good on the ball. He won't just hoof it forward. He's calm. And all these things make us a better team. And by not having him in the team, it's ridiculous. Like, literally ridiculous. It's like, honestly, it's like having Romelu Lukaku on the bench and starting with Dominic Calvert-Lewin. You know Dominic Calvert-Lewin's a good player, but you've got Romelu Lukaku sitting on the bench. You just wouldn't do it. So it's nonsense, utter nonsense. And he bottled that one for me. Bottled it. Took the easy way out because Michael Keane was on the crest of a wave. And he'd probably prefer to leave Michael Keane in because it helps his style of play, which is just negative.
Okay. The game, Everton didn't start the game very well. Fulham were on the ball immediately, and even though they didn't really, nothing really happened in the opening 20 minutes from either side. Nothing happened. They had all the ball. We just were lumping it forward. It wasn't going anywhere. But they opened us up with a couple of moments where, one was self-inflicted. Mykolenko kicking the ball straight to Jimenez, and he just put it back to Traore, and Jordan Pickford had to make a really good save from close range. And then they had a really big chance when it was played to the back post and just got nodded across, and Smith Rowe really should have scored, or he should have at least hit the target. And then they had another one quickly after it with Alex Iwobi inside the 6-yard box, and we've seen that finish before from Alex, which was into the back row of the Gladys Street. And that was like a wake-up sort of thing of, these do have danger. They do have a real threat. They got in a couple of times and the final ball wasn't good enough. But then from nowhere, Idrissa Gana Gueye unleashed a 25-yard curling strike which hit the underside of the bar, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin wrapped home the rebound, and for 2 seconds, we thought we'd taken the lead against the run-up play. But I mean, Garner was so unlucky, wasn't it? Could have come down at Leno on the back of the bounce and gone in or something. But it was a great strike, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. You could see the movements of it. You know, as soon as you could see him straight away trying to shift it, trying to, you know, he absolutely meant to do that. It's not always the case with the Garner guy.
I think he always means to do it. It just never comes off.
And he hit it brilliantly. And sometimes those ones, you're right. They just kiss a different part of the post or the bar and end up going in the back of the net. Or if you're really lucky, hit the goalkeeper and go in. And then added to that, Dom just can't quite get himself back on side, only by, you know, a fraction. And it what must have been because they did obviously take the time looking at it. So we're really unlucky there, and just not only not taking the lead, but that, you know, if Dom could have grabbed the goal again, the confidence that gives you striker as well. And it's mad. It's just like, what can you do? You're a centre forward. When someone hits a shot like that, you're just keeping your position, aren't you? You're hoping that maybe the full back step, you know, took half a step backwards or whatever, just to keep you on. Sometimes that can be the deciding factor, but unfortunately for this one, he was just off. It was
like the Corey last time out, wasn't it? Newcastle, he headed that one in and he'd just gone just ahead. He was offside, but he'd just gone ahead. And you're looking for that leg up in the game, aren't you, really, even though you hadn't started well. And for a few minutes after that, we had a little... we looked like we'd sort of woken up. We had decent little move that Dwight McNeil had a header flash that Leno from the edge of the... It was never going to cause him that much issue, but it was a decent little move, good ball and a good header. And then we got McNeil in round the side, lovely reverse ball, and just a lazy cross for me. Tried to roll it across instead of standing it up. And we had players still in the box. Calvert-Lewin was still there, Tarkowski was still there, then Keane was still in there. And if we'd have stood it up, we'd have had a better chance of attacking it. And then that sort of just flitted away, and the game went back to them just having the ball. And sort of got in at half time, and you're like, well, okay, we're going to have to kick it on a bit here because we have been a bit passive. We've allowed them to do what we know they like to do. But we disappointed. I wouldn't say we're surprised, because we don't, very often we don't come out with like as if they've had a kick up the backside. There's not real intensity. But we're surprised that we were still so passive after the break, given it was 0-0. And they were, even though Fulham are a good side, they're not amazing. They're there for the taking. And yet we sort of, the one tactic of just webbing it to Jordan, from Jordan Pickford to Dom, and open that. I don't know what they're hoping he can do. There was no variation in it. I think
it was almost like, you know, when we played Palace, we were 1-0 down. So when we came out second half, there really was that need to get out the blocks quicker. But because it was still 0-0, there was a, you know, the manager doesn't really like making changes, and it showed again. No, I mean, I don't think he hasn't got loads of choices to make, so that's fine. But there wasn't like an intensity at all into the team. It was just like, oh, just keep doing what you're doing. But what we were doing in the first half was being very, very passive, very defensive, going long most of the time. In fact, I think the only time we tried to play a little bit of football that worked led to the Disagana Gay's shot at the bar. I think we worked that out quite well, and we went across the pitch to the left hand side. But you know, it was evident that they're the better footballing team with the better players. They played higher, you know, they're away from home and they're pushing onto us, and we really didn't have much of an answer, because I think once you're into that negative way of thinking and you're in that negative zone, if you go long, you're not pushing players up to support the centre forward. So if it drops, you haven't got players around it, and they pick up the bits. And if you go short out from the back, your full-backs are not high enough to take the ball, or your midfielder doesn't drop in, take the ball, and have the full-backs to hit. So either way, the negativity that is in the team doesn't allow us to really get going, and that's because that's what it is. It's negativity, isn't it? And it's not. It just rears its head again when we're playing teams that are, better in possession, and it's not what I want to be watching week in and week out. It really isn't.
It just seems to me like we just give the onus up no matter who we're playing.
We do, and that's
done it with Doncaster in the cup in the
we do
first half.
We do, and it's. I think that's one of the major issues with it, and I think Sean Dyche has set a stall out, and we sit here week in, week out, and we talk about it, how he is here to just accumulate the points to get us safe, and then that's his job. And he talks week in and week out about the job he's got to do, and we spoke about it for the last couple of months or so, about the message coming out of the club, which is stay up, move to the new stadium. That's the general principle for the entire season, and as a fan, that's hard to watch. I mean, I get the ethos. I've understood the ethos for the last 4 years. It's why we give Rafa Benitez the job.
Yeah.
It was get to the new stadium. Don't get relegated and get to the new stadium. But of course, it wears you down. Wears you down, and people can look at it and go, look what he's had to work with and all this. But I personally believe the squad's better this season than it was last season.
Well, this.
You take Onana out of it, which someone he didn't really fancy anyway, and I think the squad's better, and this squad got 48 points last season. So surely it should be looking to get more, and it's just, you're right. I think when we play teams like this, it's just like, sit in and make sure they can't get chances and do this, and I think it backfires. I really do. I think don't get me wrong, no one's talking about being open, and you play a way that suits your players, but I don't think the way we're playing at the moment suits our players. I don't think it gets the best out of anyone, just lumping it up to Dom. I think you've got to have some kind of hybrid way of playing, and sometimes we have when we're playing teams who he thinks aren't as good as us. I think that's clear when we play teams that he thinks aren't as good as us. It means we open up a little bit and think we won't be here. You haven't got enough to hurt us here. But on Saturday, we just give the initiative to them, and they ran with it, and they kept running until he scored.
Well, I'm just looking at Pickford's pass combinations. So most pass play was Tarkowski, which you'd expect. He rolls it up. Second was Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
And you've got a left back, a right back, another centre back, at number 6 who's coming to get it. And yet, that Calvert-Lewin was his second highest by some distance.
I'd love to know what the stats are for Pickford. Pickford going to Calvert-Lewin, but also players going back to Pickford for the entire season. I bet you players...
for the season.
No, I'm saying for the entire season. I bet you players going back to Pickford, we must be one of the highest in the Premier League for a team going back to their goalkeeper.
Well, our centre-backs went back to him 12 times.
But there was a big... No, it wasn't a big moment in the game, but there was a moment in the game where the Core had absolutely no one round him.
I've just seen that pass, yeah.
And decided to pass it back to Pickford. When if he just turned round, he actually had yards in front of him. He had yards every side of him.
A lot of them do it. We do it on the halfway line, just whack it back to him, and we can spin and go again. And that's the way it is, isn't it? I was just disappointed we didn't up it the start of the second half. I felt if we'd come out and gone after Fulham a little bit at the start of the second half, we might have got them on the back foot. And again, it's not. I don't subscribe to the fact that this squad is really bad, and what else can you hope for? Because that's people who, in my opinion, people who fall into that mantra are the ones who are being told and believing what they're hearing instead of seeing with your eyes. There's players in this team who are Premier League footballers and have been for a number of years, who can actually play football. You can't be a Premier League footballer and be awful. Really, you can't. Not for years, you can't. But you can always play better, a better style. I've said it before, quote Doncaster. No one wants any of the Doncaster players in Everton's team or squad. Nobody. And yet, at Goodison, he passed us off the park simply because of the way they moved the ball about. And yet, we don't do anything. We can be a bit more adventurous at home. We can go after it. However that looks. If it's going to be long ball, because that's what he wants to do, then commit to it and put 2 up front. Change the way you play a little bit. Go away. If you go away and you want to give all the ball to the opposition and go, we'll get a free kick or a corner and we'll try and nick it, okay, well, so be it. But I think at home, in my opinion, you've got to go after teams, and we didn't. We allowed them to just enjoy themselves, And that part of that enjoying themselves, they scored a good goal, and you know we've got the stills. I think Ned's going to put them up for us now. Here we go. This is Smith Rowe, and he's already gone past someone in their half, and he travels forward. He's got McNeil running after him. Go ahead, Ned, take it on. Skips away from Dwight. I mean, he started level. Look where he is already. He's away from McNeil. Young comes in. He lunges in. He skips beyond Ashley Young. Take it on. Comes inside. And obviously, look at Iwobi. He's got loads of room here. The Corey comes across. Pops it off to Iwobi. He goes back. Just a little drop of the shoulder takes the Corey out the game. And then it opens up ahead of Alex Iwobi. And he gets in that. Now that's the zone he used to sky it over for us.
Yeah.
But he got to there, and it's a really good finish. You know, beating Pickford down to his right in the bottom corner. And I don't know about you, but I couldn't have been less surprised when that hit the net. To put Fulham 1 up, and it was a well-worked goal by them. Smith Rowe, lovely little footballer, can glide past people. The amount of times he was stood next to the Corey and he just walked away from him. The Corey had no clue where he'd gone. Yeah. And it was just that they never found him. Instead of being on, you know, I've got to be checking him, it just pulled off them, and it was just they didn't find him. Otherwise, we'd have been in big trouble. Obviously, 1-0 down again at home, and yeah, what can you do? A bad goal from our perspective, but it was a well-worked goal.
It's a terrible goal. I mean, you've got Dwight McNeil chasing after him.
That's joking.
That's a chase. Chasing after him, and then you've got Ashley Young, who should, with all his experience, should just stand up. Ashley Young had a decent game, but that was really poor. Yeah. Then you've got no one looking after Iwobi, and then he just skips in, and then not one of the centre-backs are standing next to each other, and not one of them just goes, I'll go and take him out here.
Remember Welbeck's goal? Day one, exactly the same. Keane and Tarkovsky.
I'll go and take him out here. And that's that idea of, like, again, people go, you know, Keane and Tarkovsky as a pair, they're both a little bit flat-footed. No one's taking the initiative. And, you know, it's such a bad goal. It really is a bad goal. Skipping past people being left for dust.
The manager won't be happy with that, will he?
No, because even the midfielders, like, why isn't one of the midfielders just sit in front of the back four and screening and not allowing that happen? You know, we won't be happy with Ashley Young jumping in, because if Ashley Young's sort of a little bit deeper, then again that he's marking a man so that one of the centre backs can engage, because the centre backs might be like, well, if I engage, he can slip someone in here. It's all those little things.
Once it gets past that, though, we've got to get out and block the shot.
People don't like, should never be diving in. It's, you know, at the top flight, it's not something you see very often. And I think there's like 3 occasions there where we've dived in because people are just running with the ball, and it's really, really bad. And it's only 2 of their players really doing anything as well. That's a terrible goal to concede. Really is.
There was one just after it below me where they do it again. Don't know whether it was Smith Rowe. Might have been Smith Rowe again below me, and he goes past one, and Tarkovsky comes and lunges in. He just knocks it and runs down the other side, and I'm looking at Tarky in his face. As he lunges, you see him, he closes his eyes as if to go, why have I done that? And he's out the game. And luckily they tried to play the overload, and he got the pass behind him, and we were able to get back. But it is those moments of, like, why are you rash, why are you jumping in? Ashley Young, your experience, block him with your body, force him on the outside, hold him up. Why isn't someone getting out? Then to Iwobi, once it's got there, we have to go out and press the ball. We can't go, well, I've stood back because he might slide him in. Well, he's put it in the net. If you go and block the shot, he can't put it in the net. It's those moments. But even with then, it's like, where's the response then? Is the changes coming now? We're 1-0 down now. The worst thing that's happened is we conceded a goal. So what happens now? And that, to me, should have been the moment when he's gone, right, Beto, go and get warmed up. And you're going on with them, because we are 1-0 down at home. And we're going to now force the issue here. We're going to go after these. We're not getting a real grip in midfield, so we want to change it up. And he didn't. He took off Jack Harrison. He put Lindstrom on, which is okay. It's an attack. It's sort of an attacking sub, but it's still just like for like. It's not we're changing the shape. We still just have a striker and we take him off.
What I would say about that is Harrison was awful.
No,
but that was literally one of Harrison's worst games.
He was doing a lot of work. Right, McNeil wasn't in the game, no?
No, I know, but Harrison was terrible. That's what I'm saying. That's what. But when you go like for like, you can understand like that, can't you? Because he was so bad.
Nothing was changing, now. So he just put a winger on for a winger, okay? And that's where I'd have gone with another striker. I always believe when you're at home, your responsibility is to go and chase the game as a home team. That's what you're there for. And Fulham made 5 changes and they were winning 1-0. And yet Marco was still making changes. And yet, okay, you put Mangala on, you go like try and freshen that little bit up in midfield, and then nothing's happened. The minutes are just passing us by, and then obviously he takes Dominic Calvert-Lewin off, and the boos were for Dominic Calvert-Lewin going off, not for Beto coming on.
No,
you know, we're 1-0 down and our centre forward's going off. You want to be throwing another one on and going for it, and he took Dom off, and it was still like, well, nothing's really changed. All you've done is you've took a centre forward off and put another one on, and you took a wide player off and put another one on. There's been no tactical change. And then the biggest thing that happened for him was Dwight McNeil got injured. You know, and then Everton unbelievably allowed the game to restart with 10 men, even though they had Harrison Armstrong warming up. And then the game got kicked off and we had 10 men, which was again alarmingly was our choice. And he hurriedly got Jared Brantwaite, who clearly hadn't even been told he was, you know, he wasn't coming on the pitch, and he pushed Michael Keane up front. And
no, his in-game management is appalling. I have no problem saying that. It's appalling. It's been appalling since day one. You can set them up all week and all that kind of thing, sound. His in-game management is disgusting, and I can't have it one bit, and I have no issue saying that at all. I think it's frightening how bad he is in games. You know, we're 1-0 down on the hour and he doesn't make a sub for 8 minutes, like you just said. But in isolation, it is the right sub because Harrison was rubbish. But you're right. There should be another change at the same time. He then doesn't make another change for another 12 minutes, so it's the last 10 minutes, and that's when he brings Mangala on. And Mangala should have come on earlier because we didn't have any control of that midfield whatsoever. So suddenly we are on the ball a little bit better. Beto comes on at the same time, but he takes Dom off. Now we're 1-0 down at home against Fulham. Why aren't you leaving your centre forward on? Or why haven't you got a belief that your centre forwards can play together? What have you been doing on the training pitch? That what isn't working on the training pitch that you can't play 2 centre forwards together at the same time? It's not. This is not rocket science. This is something that we've had in football for the last 40, 50, 60 years till Pep Guardiola destroyed it. But it should be a very basic thing. And he takes Dom off. I thought that was strange, considering now you've got Beto on doing the same things. And then you're right, he gets a massive stroke of luck, and it was Dwight McNeil going down. He has to go off. He pushes Michael Keane up front, which, by the way, is absolute bollocks. And I don't mean, and again, I'm not criticising Michael Keane. It's bollocks. The fact that you've got to play a centre-back up front is a fucking disgrace. I am not mixing my words here. I was horrified once I seen it in the ground when I was in the ground. It's a disgrace that we are sitting here in 2024 relying on a centre forward to go. Why? Because people have been blowing smoke up his arse all week. That's why. And the manager's gone, oh, they like this. They like this. The manager's actually even said that.
Oh,
he's actually said it. It's a disgrace when you are the centre forward on the pitch, and I don't care if you like Dominic Calvert-Lewin or you don't like Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's on there to do a job, and he does that job in very difficult circumstances. Beto can supplement him because Beto, he's a poacher. He's a nuisance, but he can't,
chaotic, isn't he?
But he can't play the role Dom plays, and you have to find a balance.
See, I think when you're 1-0 down, try and cause the chaos that Beto causes. Make it chaotic for Fulham, because we made the change with Linson. It didn't really do much because we didn't get the ball to him. And then Mangala's come on to try and get on the ball, but Fulham are 10 minutes, I know, plus stopper time away from winning, and deservedly so. So that last 10 or 15 minutes, create chaos. Change what you do and say, listen, I'm taking something from this game, so we're going long and we're just going to go back to front, 2 big fellas up there, knocking them about. The two centre-backs are big. If you've got one up front and you're creating loads of chances and Calvert-Lewin's blazing them over the bar, and every time you're creating, you might go, put Beto there because he'll take these. That might be the occasion you do it. But nothing had happened. There was one below me. Calvin Bassey had his hands on his hips and his foot on the ball. Yeah. No one went to press him. Yeah. He was just stood there like that, looking around as if to go, where's my next pass? Yeah. It wasn't like, it's coming, coming. Because it wasn't coming.
No, it wasn't coming.
So therefore, leave Dom on, throw Beto on, go, right, we're going back to front, really direct now, and we're going to knock these about. Say to people, push up. I'd rather lose 2-0 going for it than just go down to a narrow 1-0.
But it would have meant taking off either Ndiaye or it would have, or McNeil. And he won't take McNeil off. He just won't take him off.
Okay, we'll go take Garner off then. Yeah. If you've got there, take Garner off and say to McNeil, no, he took the Corey from McGarrett.
Yeah, he took the Corey.
Say
from saying earlier.
Say, right, go and play in midfield. Right, sit inside. If he doesn't want to take him off, sit inside and we're pushing right on. We're going on because we're 1-0 down. We may as well lose 2-0 trying to chase this game, given everything we've got. Okay, he could sit here, and I'm sure he would sit here and go, look, we didn't lose 2-0, did we? Because we got a draw. Yeah. So I'm right in what I've done, but I still disagree because I think you got lucky, mate, because you wouldn't have changed it.
You got lucky.
We'd have got beat 1-0 doing the same things what we were doing.
Dwight McNeil went off and he stood there like a rabbit in the headlights. He didn't know, and then it was like, I've got a centre back, I can put him up front.
Well, the fella from the back row, the family enclosure, shouted, "Get Keane up front!"
But like that's it, isn't it? People after an hour shouting, "Get Keane up front." As I said, people been smoke up his ass all week. It's no issue with that. That's football. It comes and goes.
We all know. Hang on, we all know with Michael Keane, if the ball drops in front of him in the box, he's a really good finisher. We know that. That's good. Doesn't mean he's great at everything else. But you wouldn't go, oh, Michael Keane's gone off, put Dominic Calvert-Lewin centre-back because he can head it away, would you? You'd go, we've got a centre-back there. Do you know what I mean? It's like, nothing against Michael Keane. Keane was on the pitch, no problem. He's on the pitch. What I'm saying is, we should have been proactive and gone, we're going after this chaos.
There should be a plan though, shouldn't there? There should be a plan. And like, you know, there's a conversation to be had about Beto. Of course there is, because I've seen the comments all weekend and people are like, he should start in front of Dom. Now, I don't believe he should start in front of Dom, right? And the reasons why is because the way we play means you need someone up front who is going to try and get it. You've just said it yourself. Where's the chances? How many chances would Beto have got with the style we play? So Dom has to be up there and trying to hold on to the ball, but he was dominated by two bigger, stronger physical lads, and because we're not getting anyone around him and we're not building up the play, it's really hard for Dominic Calvert-Lewin, as it would have been for Beto.
No, it would have been.
Now the difference is Beto's touch is not as good as Dom's, so therefore more things are just going to bounce off him, and that's fact. And again, look at the coaching staff and say, how haven't you improved this lad in a year to be able to hold on to the ball? We know ourselves, we know for a fact, the club are well aware that his back to goal play isn't good enough. We know that's a fact, right? Okay, so you've got that. In the last 3 or 4 games, the reason he hasn't come on is because we've been in winning positions or we've got something to hold on to, as in a point or something, and they've gone, right, if we throw him on, it creates a chaos that we don't want. Chaos works both ways, by the way.
It does.
So you don't want to create that. But in this game, of course, so why haven't you been working on the training ground for him to be on the pitch with Dominic Calvert-Lewin? Because what has got us a point out of the game is the fact that Michael Keane was up with them, winning those flick-ons, allowing you to go long. Because when you go long, of course it always works if you've got two, because you can create, goes for a corner, then you've got that pressure, you keep the pressure on. It's also the centre-backs then have got 2 players to deal with, who drops in and gets that, you're being pulled round. It baffles me.
But Everton could use it to their advantage.
Exactly.
He got it. Michael Keane went up, and fair play to Michael Keane, he went up and done what he should do, go up and be a nuisance. He went up, got a flick on, Beto runs in behind, has a shot, it gets deflected, we get a corner. And then they're feeling under a little bit of pressure, then Keane's like gone up for another one and they're heading it, but it's dropping to us. Because all of a sudden, like you've just said, they've got 2 men. I've got to mark someone, you've got to mark someone. It's not you mark him and I'll drop off, so even if he wins it, I'll pick it up. That's gone. All of a sudden, they're on the... You know, when That could have worked with Beto and Calvert-Lewin. It still could. You might, at times, should they change the way they play? Possibly. Maybe they should go to 3-5-2 sometimes. No, people don't like it. I'm not a massive lover of it myself, but it gives you 3 men in midfield. It's terrified of losing the midfield, but it also gives you the anchor point. You can have someone who is at the tip of the 3, who's an offensive player, whether it be Dwight McNeil or Iliman and Jai. McNeil could go on the left, but then you'd have the 2. Not all the time, granted, but there is a time and a place for it. You know, and the irony is, the minute we sort of got into injury time, we stopped being cautious. Yeah. And because we stopped being cautious, we had men in the box. Oh, and we had men in the box, which led to Everton's equaliser. So let's have a look at Everton's equaliser. We've had the ball on the right hand side and we work it over to the left hand side and it comes out to Iliman and Jai. Everton have got bodies in the box. He comes in side and then stands one up. Let's go on again, Ned. And Ashley Young, who, you know, as a modern right back would be, is in the penalty area. And it was good for Ashley Young to be in there, and he plays a lovely little cushioned ball back across the 6-yard box. Beto's right in the middle of it. Ned'll take it on for us, puts it there. Toffee, I think, goes near post, and Beto heads it past Leno to get us the equaliser, and it's a big goal for him. He'd already had a header from the other side, which Leno saved a full stretch. It was a comfortable save, but at least it was an effort at goal. And Beto actually come on and had the most shots in the whole game out of both teams, which was mad. He had 3 attempts at goal. Let's have a look at this. Do you love this stat though, Ped? Let's have a look. Passing accuracy, 0%. He tried 2 passes and give it away. I don't think I've ever seen anyone with 0%.
That's tremendous.
He had 3 attempts at goal, which, like I've said, was the most out of both sides. Scored 1 from an XG of 0.39, but he won 100% of his aerial duels, 2 out of 2. And again, imagine if he'd have been going and you would have had Calvert-Lewin running in behind him, where Dom can be the runner or him running in. And that's what I'm saying, where I understand Sean likes to have a picture in his head of what he wants to do. I get that. But have those plan Bs then, like you said, if we are one down. And I've grown up. I'm too young for the Mike Lyons up front days, but it's imprinted in my brain by people who were there. Yeah. This is what we do. And it was almost seen. And anyone in the 70s would tell you it was an embarrassing thing.
That's because you didn't have any subs.
I know, that was the only reason, because you
didn't have subs. So now you have subs, and that's what's so... Right, if we didn't have any centre forwards, right? So I remember when he went up against Wolves,
and he done well, yeah.
He did all right. Dom had already gone off injured by then, and we didn't have anybody else. So I remember that. I understand that.
Yeah.
But the fact that we've took off a centre forward, our number 1 centre forward, we took him off, and we've gone like for like, and then we've got dead lucky. I just find that baffling. I find it baffling that you, with 10 minutes to go, not half an hour to go, 10 minutes to go, you just would go sticking 2 up, and Jai on the, even if you put Dwight McNeil on the right previously, but and gone, because by this time now we've got like inverted wingers. So it's like, and the goal is scored because it's across to the back post. Everyone's eyes are on these 2 centre forward. We've overloaded Toffee in there as well, whatever. We've overloaded them. They've got low. And once that ball's in, Ashley Young's made that run. He wouldn't make that run in any other stage of the game, but he's stayed up there because it is the last dregs of the game, that's Knockins. He's cushioned it back, and look how many. And Beto has reacted quickly, because he reacts really well in the box, because that's where he does it. But that's where he does his best work. But again, because we play with 1 up front, we don't create those overloads, and that goes back to the way we play, that we're negative and the fullbacks don't get forward. And we've created that scenario. Why can't we create that scenario with Dominic Calvert-Lewin on the pitch in the first place? Because we're so negative, and that comes from the manager. That comes from how he sets up. That's how he comes, because he's not playing Brantwaite and we're not pushing forward, and he doesn't pull the fullback. All these things play a part in that final thing, which is putting the ball in the back of the net.
But the other thing is as well, we've sort of done better with this service as well, because the thing that he's the best is his best attribute. We don't do it. So it coming alive in the penalty area. Years ago, in the old days, people, you'd have 2 centre forwards, and some of them would be penalty box strikers. That was what they're literally, like, that was the thing they were good at, where you'd have a bigger target man who's great at holding it up and laying it off. That ain't better. This league, you've got to be so good keeping hold of the ball when you're a striker, or you've got to have a trick, or you've got to be lightning. They're your options. It's why lads who are very successful in Championship and League One get into the Premier League, and it's just so difficult because the centre backs are quick and powerful and strong, and if you haven't got comparable assets to them, you don't get a kick, or you might have good movement but you're not sharp,
well, you
or
can't.
whatever. So you've got to give your players their best opportunities. You've got to help them. Helping better is by having other people around them and then getting balls into the box.
Well, I was speaking to someone last night who's a lot more knowledgeable than I am when it comes to football, and he was saying to me that one of the reasons why he did score goals in Italy and why he would score goals in Italy again if he returned there is because in Italy the centre forwards are asked to do nothing but be centre forwards.
Yeah.
They're asked to just sit in the box, not even get involved in the game till they need to be, and so that's where Beto comes alive. Premier League football, like you've just said there has to be like, Dom's like an extension of our midfield. He's not, at times he's not even like a centre forward. You look at his heat map, he doesn't get in the box, and that's because of the way we play. It's into him, then out, and then you're supposed to get back in, but we can't get back in most of the time. So
look at what Carlo said too.
Yeah,
because Carlo, with the Italian mindset, everything you've said, it's great doing all this work, mate, for the team. It's brilliant, but you're our striker, so you need to be between the posts and then you'll score goals. We've gone away from that, and he's back.
But we know, we know for a fact that the number one striker in the Premier League, and I know the conditions are completely different, the number one centre forward in the Premier League does not touch the ball bare in the box or around the box or heading to the goal. He doesn't do anything, and that's the number one, and that's because his team does all the work for him. Now, of course, that's not going to happen in our team. No. So straight away you go, well, why did we buy him? But if you do buy him and you find qualities in him, you have to improve those qualities, or you have to find a way of him. We've seen him play with Dom like once, and it never really worked.
No.
So what you do is you look at it and you go, what didn't work? Get on the training ground and keep working on it again and again and again. Loads and loads of drills.
Have it as your backup plan.
Of course.
If you've decided, and I've got no problem with Sean Dyche deciding this, he sees them every day, he'll know. Him and his coaches know exactly what they're looking at. If they look and go, look, Calvert-Lewin can do that one man up front thing because his touch is better, he holds it up better, it's bouncing off him, he's getting involved in grappling, he doesn't really keep the ball. Okay, that's fine. So Dom's the number one, no problem. But we've got a centre forward here who does score goals in double figures in both his seasons in Serie A. He scored goals for Everton, not a lot, but he's a nuisance, he's a handful. Okay then, so how can we extract the most out of him then? Like, let's try them together. Keep trying them on a training ground, even if it's 15 minutes, at the end of a game, get them close together, one run after the other, come off them. And then if we're struggling like we are at the weekend, you can throw them on and the people know the plan.
Well,
that's what
I was looking over the weekend because I knew this would be a conversation. And I know it's a conversation, and I know I've seen people, get rid of Dom. It's like, Aston Villa are a really good one to look at.
Yeah.
And again, quality is much different. Managers, everything's different. Understand all that. Ollie Watkins starts the games for them. And Duran comes on. Now on Saturday, Duran came on after 57 minutes. So, it's 0-0. Comes on at 57 minutes.
Did he take Watkins off?
No. He took Morgan Rogers off.
Who's been brilliant.
They get 1-0 up, and with 8 minutes left, he takes Ollie Watkins off for Kamara. So Kamara comes on
to try and close
the game down, right? So for 20 odd minutes,
they've had
25 minutes, they've had Duran and Ollie Watkins on at the same time, and then when the game, so the game now, the winner
in that time, though, didn't he?
Scored in the 71st minute. The game's coming to the last 10 minutes, and he's made a decision. Right, it hasn't panned out. They've conceded a goal in the last minute, right? And Villa fans, I haven't watched the game, so Villa fans, but that's the point, isn't it? The point is, Duran scores loads of goals. He doesn't start games because they wear teams down with Watkins, and then they bring Duran on, but they pair them play together, and then he can take Watkins off and do whatever he wants. But that's the point, isn't it?
The other thing as well we're saying is, if it's okay, and this again, right, this isn't even saying you can't throw Michael Keane up front. We're not even, well, I don't think we're saying that. What I think we're saying is...
You shouldn't be throwing Michael Keane.
No, you shouldn't, but there might be a moment where he took off...
Well, you might put him up because he wants 3 up front.
But you might be winning 1-0 and Dom's tired or whatever, and you're thinking, right, we're fresh, and you put Beto on, and it doesn't really work out because you know what I mean? Or you might go, we won't keep last 5 minutes, cause chaos, just get him up there. There might be a time you do it. I just personally don't understand when you are 1-0 down at home with 10 minutes left and you're making a change, why taking a centre forward off for one other centre forward
I just don't
when you're not having any joy anyway.
Just don't get
makes sense. If you're not, like I said before, if you know we're creating another 5 chances here and this lad, you're not on it today, but he'll score them if he gets them, you sort of go, all right, fair enough.
If Lindstrom had come on and for 10 minutes had tore the arse out of their fullback and was putting chance in for chance, that's and Dom wasn't doing it, then you go, get Beto on, because actually he will. Then you would have.
That's what I mean.
Nothing changed in the game.
No, don't forget what I mean.
Nothing changed.
That's me
Lindstrom
argument.
kept on hitting the same walls that Harrison was hitting. You know, you think he might have hit one corner in the time he was on. It needed a complete change. It needed what happened when Michael Keane went up front.
Chaos.
And you score, who knows? You could score within the first 2 minutes, and then you've got 10 minutes of the Gladys Street and the rest of the ground roaring you on. We can win this. We can win this. Because actually now we're fine at the back. They've bottled it. They've gone, oh my God, we should have been winning this, because it happens in games. You're winning a game comfortably, something changes in it, and it's 1-1, and suddenly it's like, oh sugar, what are we going to do now? And the momentum's all in.
I like you went for sugar then, but before you had no problem.
Well, fuck the F-bomb. So that whole thing infuriated me, because it is just. It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense.
Listen, it was frustrating because it was there. But listen, it ended 1-1. We got a lucky point from our perspective because Fulham deserved to win the game really, and we've hung on in there. The best thing you can say is that they carried on fighting and they got themselves a point out of it. And we just have to move forward. I gave man of the match to Idrissa Gana Gueye because I thought he was Everton's best player. When I had a look on the other comparison site things, he was Everton's best player, so I was happy with that. Let's have a look at his numbers from the weekend. 91% passing accuracy, blowing away the claims he gives the ball away all the time. 4 tackles, which was the most out of any Everton player. Won 9 out of 11 of his ground duels, completed 100% of his dribbles, 2 out of 2. Had 2 interceptions, was the most fouled player on the pitch as well. All round excellent performance from Idrissa at 35 years of age. Just unfortunately didn't cap it off with that goal, which would have been a stunner. Absolutely cracking, he was everywhere, and protect him at all costs. Got to have him because we haven't got options really. We need James Garner fit again, we need Tim Irabunam fit, just to give the manager other options as well. But I thought he was excellent at the weekend. Yeah, and another player who did have a good game, albeit he did dive in for Fulham's goal, was Ashley Young, the much maligned Ashley Young, who's done all right of late, definitely. Been playing quite well, but let's have a look at his numbers from the weekend. There we go, 81% passing accuracy, tackles 3, won 75% of his ground duels, clearances is 4, I don't know why that's there, because it's not the one I put up, and assists 1, and there's his heat map. But look where his heat map is still far too deep, isn't it? That should be the flip. You know what I mean? And I think for Everton to sort of move forward, we have to get our full progress in the other half, don't we?
I've watched the last 2 teams come to Goodison, and their fullbacks just fly forward and make chances.
It causes problems.
And push our team back. And once again, we just sit in and we're negative, and
We seen how ours did. Seamus Coleman,
mate.
Leighton Baines, and then Luca Dean. They were our biggest strengths. They were unbelievable. He was so high. That's why we had really good home records. And now we just give all the the impetus to the away side. It's so frustrating. Let's have a look at the overall stats anyway from the game. 1-1, 10 shots from Everton, 14 for Fulham, 5 on target for the Toffees, 3 for Fulham, passes 383 versus 588, and the 40% possession for the Blues.
I mean, the stats are mad, aren't they? Because the ones on target and stuff, but it doesn't paint the picture that of actually being at the game, which was, and most people who have watched the game, we were dreadful. And Fulham, maybe if they'd had a decent centre forward, or as I said, a little bit more oomph in midfield, maybe. I think he made too many subs, Silver, as well. I think
disrupted them.
I think he shouldn't have made the subs, the ones he made in injury time, I think, were quite costly. Don't think he needed to do that.
No.
I think
he was trying to kill it, wasn't he?
Yeah,
but thank God for us he did.
Yeah, I'd have him back though.
He's trying to help us, Big Marco. There you go, 1-1. 5 games unbeaten.
Hey.
Southampton away, another game where they will dominate possession. But let's hope we can do what we did at Portman Road last time on the road and get ahead and take it from there. Let us know what you think in the comments section below. We're carrying on now on Toffee TV Premier, where we are answering your questions. Hit the like, subscribe if you haven't, and if you want to become one of those Premier members, the link is in the description and the QR code is on the screen now.